right, good morning. It looks like we're ready to get started. Everyone has made their way in. Still extra coffee, so if you do have to sneak back out just for a refresher, feel free. Have the pleasure of recognizing many of your faces, but for those that I do not know, by introduction, my name is Nicole Wright. I am the project manager focusing on technology for Partnership Gwinnett and Gwinnett Chamber Economic Development. Aside from my role in recruiting and working on the expansion of our existing technology companies here in Gwinnett, I also have the joy of putting on the Technology Forum every other month here at Gwinnett Technical College. So we bring in different types of speakers and different topics that focus on all different types of niches within the technology industry. And very excited today to have a representative from NCR to talk about what it is that they're doing. As you all know, they came here and moved their headquarters just a few years ago to Gwinnett County. So we're very excited to have them here and to get a refresher on what it is that they're focusing on. Before we bring up our speaker, though, I would like to take the time to recognize our sponsors who make this event possible. First up is our presenting sponsor. We have Adam Jennings to speak on behalf of Blue Wave Computing.
Thank you, Nicole. Good morning, everybody. Glad to see new faces as well as, I guess, the same faces that come every other month. I am Adam Jennings with Blue Wave Computing. We are a leading Microsoft Gold partner in the Atlanta area with 450 customers. I like to say we're the biggest IT services company nobody's ever heard of. We're hoping to change that here in Gwinnett, continue to grow here in Gwinnett. We do managed IT services, managed hosting services, which means we own a piece of the cloud, disaster recovery, as well as professional services. If you have a need or know someone that has a need or you just want to talk about technology, stop by and see me. Thanks a lot.
All right, and then I'd also like to recognize our next sponsor, which is our breakfast sponsor. They've also been sponsors with the Technology Forum for quite a few years, so always excited to have them as partners, and that's Charter Business. And here to say a few words on their behalf is Michael Baldwin.
Thank you, Nicole. In order to get to that cloud that he was just talking about, Charter Business provides internet service, whether it be just for your single access to for your business, or whether it be a large solution for fiber. We offer all different levels of service. We also offer phone service for all different levels too, whether it be a single phone line or all the way up to a PRI type of application. So if you haven't checked out Charter Business, we are very competitive in the market, provide a wide range of telecommunications and internet services. So we'd love to have the opportunity to come in, consult with you, and provide you a quote for your services. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And then very quickly, I would like to go ahead and recognize the rest of our sponsors for 2012 of the Gwinnett Technology Forum. Our platinum sponsor, and I don't believe we have a representative today. Oh, there she is, Kathleen Hart, is Anderson Tate & Carr. Just brief introduction of who they are. Anderson Tate & Carr is Gwinnett's preeminent full-service business law firm and has been representing businesses in Gwinnett, Metro Atlanta, and Northeast Georgia for over 30 years. ATC's attorneys are experienced in representing technology companies on a variety of matters, including corporate organization and structure, management and finance, complex contract negotiations and disputes, intellectual property licensing, protection, and much more. They have a great team approach that is designed to provide its technology clients with the legal assistance necessary to expand and protect their business in a cost-effective manner. So if you have any questions about Anderson Tate & Carr, please definitely see Kathleen at the end of this presentation. Our other sponsors, we have gold sponsors, Cisco, and silver sponsors, Canvas Systems and Synergy America, and I would be remiss, Bill McCargo, right there, is the newest member of Synergy America, so please definitely talk with him afterwards, and then we also have Manny. Our community partners are the 1818 Club, the Technology Association of Georgia, the American Israel Chamber of Commerce, and Gwinnett Technical College. So thank you to all of our sponsors and our community partners. If we can just give them again a round of applause. All right, so it's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. We will learn about how NCR, a Fortune 500 company, like I said, headquartered here in Gwinnett, continues to lead the world in how consumers connect, interact, and transact in business. NCR is dedicated to innovating for the next generation of interaction by meeting the changing needs and desires of consumers. Our speaker today is Rich McDonald, and he's the Global Director of the Executive Briefing Program at NCR Corporation. He's an expert in experiential marketing and has won numerous industry awards for briefing center design as well as creative content. You can read his full bio on the back of your agenda, but I would like to say that I had the pleasure of meeting Rich for the first time about a year and a half ago. He took our Gwinnett Technology Council out to the NCR facilities and gave us an amazing tour. He's a wealth of information and knowledge, and just very excited that he could actually come here to the Technology Forum today to give us an update and to present and let us know exactly what NCR is doing. So I'd also be remiss, though, just to talk about that wealth of knowledge, to say that congratulations. He is, in fact, this year celebrating his 20th year with NCR. So, Rich, we're very excited to have you. If you want to come to the stage, we can give him a welcome.
Thank you, Nicole. And very honored that I was asked to speak today, and excited to share with you everything that NCR is doing and kind of leading that new generation of the way consumers interact. Speaking of that, does anybody have any guesses what this device may be? This little mystery machine? ATM. ATM? It's a good guess. But no. Cash register? Another good guess. So we just identified the two things that everybody thinks about when they think of NCR. ATMs and cash registers, things that we use every day. This is actually something different, and I'll share with you at the end what this is. Okay? A little bit about our presence in Georgia. As Nicole mentioned, I moved here about a year and a half ago from Ohio, and we relocated the company from Dayton, Ohio, down here. And we have a very strong presence in Gwinnett County and also the state of Georgia that we're very proud of. So our corporate headquarters is now in Duluth. And then we have two buildings on Satellite Boulevard that are kind of act as our world headquarters. And then a little bit down the road is where we do a lot of product development, and that's also where our briefing center is located. We acquired a company named Radiant last year that's in Alpharetta, and they're a leader in hospitality solutions, so expanding our reach there. And we have a huge global parts facility as well as NCR University where we do a lot of our training down in Peachtree City, just south of the airport. And we just opened up our second plant in Columbus, Georgia. So our original plant has about 900 employees where we make ATMs and self-checkouts. And we just opened up a new plant where we're making some kiosks and peripheral devices, things like scanners and that. And we're very proud of that, actually, because those are jobs that we have brought back into the U.S. that were previously overseas positions. So very, very proud of that. And proud of our presence in Georgia. And if you're not proud of the work that the Chamber has done, then you should be, because they played a really big role in helping bring NCR here, as well as the state of Georgia and the government. So very strong leadership that everyone in this room should be very proud of. Okay, this is usually the snoozer slide in most presentations. Vision, mission. I'm actually really excited to share this because I've been with NCR, as Nicole mentioned, a long time. And I can excitedly say, today our mission is very bold and our vision is very clear. And historically, I could say that wasn't the case with NCR. We used to try and be everything to everybody. We were making ATMs and cash registers, and we were also doing enterprise data warehousing, and we were trying to make PCs and compete with IBM and HP in the PC market. And we reorganized our business several years ago, and today we're pretty much laser focused on leading that space where consumers interact with businesses. So that transaction area, that's what we're really our best at. It's what we started doing over 125 years ago when we started selling cash registers. And that's what we know best, and that's what we're doing a great job of today. And our mission is to help our customers achieve the next generation of productivity gains and at the same time innovate the consumer experience. So what does that mean? We think it's very important to do both of these at the same time. If we just help our customers lower their cost, they just may go out of business a little bit slower than they normally would. We think it's very important to lower your cost, but at the same time innovate that consumer experience so you can gain new customers and keep the customers that you have. And sometimes that's not an easy thing to do. Okay. So this chart shows some stats up here at the upper right. If the United States wants to achieve the same productivity gains that we achieved in the previous 20 years, each worker is going to have to improve their productivity by 34%. Okay? And in other parts of the world, it's even a larger number. In Japan, 75%. Western Europe, 60%. So where are those productivity gains going to come from? Previously, they came from the back office. Things like barcode scanning, data mining, enterprise data warehousing, ERP systems. A lot of those productivity gains have already been achieved. So we don't think we're going to find such a huge improvement in productivity in that area. We think it's going to be actually in the space that NCR plays in, the front office, that place where consumers interact with businesses. Okay. And today, the consumer has really changed quite a bit, and they have more power than they ever had before. We have more power in the palm of our hands now than we could have dreamed of even 10 years ago. We're digitally empowered and networked wherever we go. Because of that, we're not as loyal. We can go into a retail store, see the price on the shelf. Before, we'd maybe just guess as to whether that was a good price. Now we can just look it up quickly and easily with our mobile phone. So we're not as loyal. We're used to new technologies, iPads, multi-touch, pinching and zooming. So is that ATM machine that has 4 buttons on the left and 4 on the right, not even a touch screen, is that going to be the kind of experience that the new generation of consumers is going to appreciate? Maybe not. And then self-service has really transformed the world. We no longer want to wait in line anywhere we go. We look for that self-service device, whether we're in the post office, at the airport, in a retail store, at the bank. Who wants to wait, in a teller line anymore? So consumers' expectations have greatly changed. And we innovate for that consumer experience, and it informs our strategy. Historically, NCR was more focused on making the best, box that we could make. And we would sell that to retailers and to banks, and they would dictate how consumers interacted. You didn't really have a choice. Now that power has shifted really to the consumer. So we've gone from a business-to-consumer business model to more of a consumer-to-business model. There's been a power shift. And so we spend a lot more time than we ever have studying consumer behavior to make sure that we understand their needs, and then we in turn take that and develop our solutions from it, based around a consumer's presence and preference. So before, the presence was easy. We knew whether they were in a branch, and that's in a bank branch. That's how they interacted. Now we have to be aware of their presence, whether they're at home using their laptop and doing banking, whether they're away from home using their mobile device, or whether they're in the branch. Same thing with a retail store. So we want to be able to react to wherever they are, to their presence, and react to their preferences. So things like language. Consumers want things to be personalized. Self-service has, a lot of times people consider self-service maybe depersonalizing the interaction because they're not dealing with that retailer or that banker. But with the technology, we can actually personalize that experience, and we think consumers expect that. And we want to be able to react to their presence and their preferences. Here's kind of a snapshot of our business. So we are the global leader in ATMs, have been for the last 25 years. We're a leader in multi-vendor software in ATMs. Intelligent deposit, when you deposit checks and cash at an ATM, we're by far the leader in that. And on the retail side, we're the global leader in self-checkout. We have nearly 70% market share now in self-checkout. And last year, we're very proud that we sold about 6 times more self-checkouts than our closest competitor. Number 2 overall in cash registers or point-of-sale devices. We acquired Radiant last year. We had a hospitality group, but it wasn't, I guess, as strong as we had wished. And Radiant is the leader in hospitality solutions in North America. And so it made a really good fit, we thought, for Radiant to be part of NCR. And that's worked out very well. In travel, if you check in and get a boarding pass in an airport in the U.S., there's about an 85% chance that that's going to be an NCR device. We're also a leader in mobile check-in solutions. And then we also have a group called Telecom and Technology that a lot of people haven't heard of and don't realize it's a big business of NCR. But we're the technology company that a lot of top technology companies trust to service their business. So we do business with 8 out of the top 10 telecoms around the globe. Servicing their network devices, we're a certified Cisco Gold partner. And they were Cisco's Vendor of the Year in 2010. So that's a little bit of a snapshot. And I think it's important to understand NCR's view. And also mobile solutions across those industries is really kind of transforming the way our traditional business has evolved. Okay? And so why is that important? It's important because consumers our customers really trust us to really understand the consumer and innovate that experience. We actually have a broader global view of consumer interactions than any other company. We process about 300 million transactions every day. It's a pretty big number. And if you break it down by minute, nearly 210,000 transactions every minute. And during the last minute that I was speaking, we did about 125 retail point-of-sale transactions, nearly 10,000 self-checkout transactions, 21,000 hospitality solutions. Okay? ATMs, about 52,000 ATM transactions every minute. Nearly 39,000 of those were cash only. The remaining would be deposit. Passenger check-in, 245 at a kiosk. And we just actually got some new numbers on the mobile check-in. Last month, we did 2.1 million mobile check-ins at the airport. So you can go through now with just your phone without a piece of paper. And that's nearly, I think, 50 transactions a minute. So that number is growing exponentially. Okay? And not only does consumer behavior inform our strategy, but we study a lot of megatrends. And these are some of the key megatrends that we're seeing. Obviously, everybody knows about the social media, Facebook and LinkedIn. Digital wallets, that's another megatrend. Everybody seems to want to play in the digital wallet game. Okay, we'll talk about that and how NCR is addressing that because it really impacts our business and our customers. Smartphones. The majority of mobile customers are now smartphone customers. So it's now over 50% of all mobile phones are smartphones with internet connections in this vast experience. Okay? Text messages, there's about 6 billion text messages sent every day. It's a huge number. And so we're seeing things change. You can now go to an ATM or retail store and get a receipt via text message. This is kind of a neat chart. It talks about the huge impact that technology has today. And, historically, we released the telephone. Not we, not NCR, but when the telephone was released, we didn't do that. We did a lot of cool things, but I won't say we invented the telephone. But, historically, there were slower adoption curves. And now, mobile phones, the Internet, we're seeing, huge spikes just straight up. And it's happening and changing so fast that it can be almost bewildering how fast the technology changes. So it's really important that we have such a broad global view of the business and we can react to all these changing dynamics, which is happening faster than we can almost think about it. It took 70 years for the phone to reach 50% of households. Facebook, though, is now 15% of the world population is in Facebook. So it's amazing just how fast that exploded just in 8 years' time. Okay. Another mobile trend, obviously, with mobility. Costs have decreased rapidly, and use has gone straight up. We expect the number of smartphones. Today, it's about 549 million. That's going to double, in the next 4 years. So an ever-increasing explosion of smartphones. Okay. Another big change that we've seen in the business is with SaaS solutions, software as a service solutions. One reason why we acquired Radiant was they were very, very strong with SaaS products. We just launched a new solution called Silver, which is a mobile point-of-sale solution. And you actually download the software through iTunes. And it's a very low cost. So it's designed for small to medium businesses. And it gives that business an amazing set of tools at a very low cost. But software as a service, we think, so monthly fees or per transaction fees versus a high upfront cost is really the trend that we're seeing globally. And explosive growth, it's going to grow 18% year over year, okay, and reach $22 billion by 2015. This is kind of a fun chart, okay? The hype cycle for different technologies. So you go from kind of when the technology is triggered, new, and then the peak of inflated expectations. And so right now, near the peak are NFC payments, cloud computing, social analytics, okay? And then technology tends to go down the trough of disillusionment. So this is done by Gartner, by the way. And then eventually we get to the slope of enlightenment, where we're used to the technology and it's performing well. So right now the huge trends with NFC, if you're not familiar with NFC, it stands for Near Field Communications. So today there's about 25 million phones out there that have NFC built into it. So there's a chip inside of it that communicates data to devices. So you can actually write information like at an ATM by tapping it, or a retail point-of-sale device. Pay for something in a cab by tapping your phone. But today it's a small number of the total amount of mobile phones. Gartner is saying by 2015 it's supposed to explode to nearly 500 million devices. And a lot of people thought the latest iPhone release was going to be NFC technology as well. That didn't happen, so I don't know if those numbers are going to be revised. But that is a huge trend, as well as with cloud computing. So we're actually, we developed an ATM solution where you can withdraw money through an ATM through the cloud without even touching the ATM. I'll talk about that here in a second. But that's another huge trend that we're seeing globally. Okay. So now we'll talk a little bit about innovating that experience across our lines of business. So in financial, the hottest thing right now, almost all banks when they come and visit us in our briefing center want to talk about interactive teller. So what this is, it's a video teller through the ATM channel. Okay? So you can go up to an ATM and you can talk with a teller just like you would in a branch. And that teller remotely controls that device. And so we took basically an ATM and we modified it. And we added an ID scanner so you can put your driver's license in and it will scan it for security purposes. We added a headset for private conversations, a signature capture device so you can sign your name digitally. And you can do almost anything through this device that you would normally do through a teller. So banks are excited about it because they have an opportunity to expand their geographic reach without building a new branch. You know, it costs a bank $2 to $3 million typically to build a brand new branch. With this device, they can actually extend their geographic reach at a much lower cost through this channel, as well as extend their branch hours. So one of our first customers for this is Coastal Federal Credit Union, okay? And they expanded their branch hours by 86% through a call center. So they have it nearly open, 24/7. So consumers can bank when it's convenient to them, not necessarily 9 to 5 when most banks dictate you can speak to a teller. With this, you can speak to them 3 in the morning, theoretically. Okay? And the customer satisfaction has been really well. Consumers really have adapted well to the technology. It's a good example of a kind of a convergence between technology advances, lower cost, and then consumer acceptance. So the video technology has come a long way, particularly in the last 5 years with HD cameras. The cost of telecommunications line, T1 lines have come down quite a bit. So you can have a really, really strong interaction. It's not like the old max headroom days, kind of herky-jerky. It's a really crystal clear, smooth video interaction. And then consumers accept it now. They're used to Skype. They're used to FaceTime in their everyday lives from their own mobile devices. And so this is not that big a deal, where maybe 10 years ago it would have been a bigger deal for a consumer to accept it. Another trend is to dislocate the interface of the ATM. Okay? So what do I mean by that? So instead of touching the ATM, the interface is from your mobile phone. Okay? And there's a couple ways to do that. You can have an app on your mobile phone, stage a withdrawal, and then tap that mobile phone. And we've come out with a new technology called Mobile Fast Cash, which you can actually let me play the video and then we'll talk about it. So I've got a video built in here from Mark Critchett, who's our marketing director for this product. But this is something a lot of banks are excited about as well.
Hi, I'm Mark Critchett, and I'm the marketing director for our payments and converged channel solutions here at NCR. And today what I want to do is demonstrate to you a new concept that we've been working on that will allow me to use this mobile phone to withdraw cash from this ATM without the use of an ATM card. Let's first start by talking about the ATM equipment that I will be demonstrating on today. This is an NCR self-serve 22E. And one of the first things that you'll notice about this is that it has no additional hardware on it. There's no NFC reader and there's no barcode scanner. The other thing that you'll notice is this 2D barcode. This is the technology we'll use to let the ATM and mobile phone communicate with each other, and it's enabled through a software installation that's part of the deployment of this solution. So for the mobile part of the solution, I'm using an Android phone and a downloadable app. Our intention, of course, is to make the solution available as a downloadable application for all the major mobile operating systems. First, I'm going to start the application on my phone, and then as you'd expect, I need to authenticate myself. In this case, we're going to use a PIN. And now the application will walk me through the setup. So I'm going to choose which account I want to withdraw the funds from, and then I'm going to choose the amount. In this case, I'll choose $10. I'm going to hit the scan button. It will open up the camera on my phone, and I'll take it to scan the 2D barcode. And that will initiate the transaction. Once the transaction is completed, my mobile application automatically updates with a confirmation, an electronic receipt of my transaction. So that's it. I've completed an ATM withdrawal using the mobile phone. We think this is a great solution that's going to benefit both the consumer and the bank. From the consumer's perspective, you get a lot of convenience by speeding the transaction up. And then from the bank's perspective, you'll notice that there's no opportunity for any skimming because we're not using an actual card. In addition, there's no additional hardware to buy for the ATM, so it's easy to install as a software implementation. So if you'd like to find out more information about this solution, please contact your NCR account manager.
Okay. Sorry for the commercial at the end, but if anybody's interested, let us know. You can let me know. It is a new technology. It's not even released yet officially. So we're still looking for pilots. We just announced that we have this capability just recently. But we feel it's pretty exciting, because you'll be able to just walk up in front of an ATM, not even have to touch it, just use your mobile phone. You scan that QR code, links to your account in the cloud. And what's encoded in that is the location of that ATM. So once you capture that, communicates to the cloud that Rich is standing in front of an ATM at 2651 Satellite Boulevard, okay? And it knows which ATM I'm in front of, and then it sends back an encrypted message that I want $20 out of my checking account, as an example. So it's all really fast, really easy, and the ability to pre-stage that transaction. So you don't really have to wait in line. While you're there or before you get to the ATM, you can pre-stage it. And when it's your turn, just scan that, and then bang, your cash comes out, and then we send a digital receipt back to the mobile phone via SMS text. So, and preventing skimming fraud is a huge deal, too. There has been an increase globally with skimming fraud where a criminal will put a device in front of the card reader, and then when you insert your card, it skims the data from the magstripe card, and then it'll have a camera typically capturing your PIN number that you enter on the ATM. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's pretty big losses. And NCR has all kinds of security features on our ATMs to help prevent that, just so you know. So look for ours. But this eliminates all that because we have the entire interface, right in front of me right here. I don't have to worry about a skimming device being on my own mobile phone. So we're pretty excited about that. If I can remember what I did with my remote control. There we go. Okay. And in financial, we actually have a consumer experience lab in Dundee, Scotland. So that's where a lot of our R&D for ATMs and financial software comes from. And they did kind of a fun little study recently. These are kind of the three things that we take in mind when we build technology. The user and what the user needs are, as well as the technology. And then there has to be a business case for it. It's no good innovating a real nice consumer experience if you can't build a good business case around it. So those are the three things that we usually do. And we actually did a study recently with 8-year-olds. And we showed them this device. So for those old enough to remember using one of those, you look at that and go like, that's not really the experience that necessarily we want. But you show this to an 8-year-old who's never seen this before, this is what they said. They were very excited about it, thought it was a new device. Cool. Wow, that's awesome. It's a laptop. Prints as you type. and no electricity. You can use it anywhere you want to go. What a great idea, you know? So sometimes the lesson is sometimes that consumer experience and consumer needs are maybe not necessarily what we think on the surface. You know, it's really important to really study them and talk to them and find out what needs are, because by generation that changes a lot as well. You know, that 8-year-old has a different view of the world than we do, especially of that typewriter. Okay. And we're looking at a lot of new modalities. This, you know, historically, when you use an ATM machine or a device, you know, you're standing in front of it. So let's say there's a through-the-wall ATM here. Okay. I'm standing with my back to everybody using this device. Okay. Because of that consumer research that we've done, you know, maybe it's a better idea to make this device perpendicular. So you have the ATM behind the wall, and you're standing like this and touching the screen. Now I can see everybody. You know, that makes consumers feel a little bit better than standing with your back to people. So we're looking at some new modalities like that. Okay, and the concept of one teller servicing multiple people at the same time. So instead of the serial fashion that we have today, where you walk into a branch and you have 4 or 5 tellers and one teller line, and everybody waits until somebody says next, and it's your turn, then you can go see a teller. You know, with this configuration, the idea is that a teller can service people at the same time or in parallel. You know, and they can begin the transaction with that device, and then the teller assists that transaction. So that's another thing that we're looking into, as well as dislocating that teller software that they have. So instead of keeping them stuck behind a counter, you know, make them mobile, where they can go out into the branch and talk to customers and have access to everything that they would have, you know, normally behind the counter through a mobile type of device or a tablet. Okay. And these are some things that we're working through and actually have deployed in certain areas. Voice recognition ATM machines, facial recognition ATMs. We actually did a facial recognition ATM for 7-Eleven. They have over 2,000 of our VCOM ATMs. And originally, the pilot for that was a facial recognition software. So you'd sign up for like a check cashing card, and then the camera would take a picture of your face, and the software would map the face. It's kind of a funny story. In one of the pilots, there was a really tall man using the ATM, and he was wearing a T-shirt with a picture of the Tasmanian devil on the T-shirt. And the camera actually mapped the Tasmanian devil on his chest versus his actual face. So, you know, those are some of the things that you discover when you start deploying some of these technologies. Gesture interaction. I have a picture coming up, I think, of an ATM where you stand in front of it and you just do gestures to scroll through different screens and point at areas on the screen without having to physically touch the screen. Okay. And these are some, these are, you know, possibly what an ATM may look like in the future. So these are real ATMs that we've developed. These actually sit in our New York briefing center. And this one is a cylindrical ATM, and there's no monitor. You know, there's no pin pad. It's a dislocated interface. You can actually not that one. You can use the ATM either by biometrics, by putting your finger. We've done palm biometrics as well, or inserting a card. And this is designed actually for the illiterate. You have these color-coded buttons. So if I can't read, you know, I don't want to read a bunch of words on a screen to use the ATM. With this one, you can actually walk up to it, you know, put your finger on the biometric reader, and then there's color-coded buttons that correspond to different amounts of cash. So increasing the access to those that may not even be able to read. This is the dislocated interface ATM, where that's a cash dispensing ATM. I can withdraw cash, I can get a receipt, but there's no monitor, there's no pin pad, there's no card reader, and there's no receipt printer. Everything's from the phone. You can walk up, you can stage the transaction, walk up to this ATM. This is NFC, so you tap it. You have it pre-staged, you tap your phone on the front of this device up here. Cash comes out, we send a digital receipt back to your phone. So it's real disruptive technology as well, because the cost to manufacture this is much lower, because we've taken a lot of the components out of the device and we've put it on the mobile phone. So now we have the potential to really expand geographic reach of ATMs at a much lower price. This one is pretty neat. This is an anthropomorphic design. So what do we mean by that? It actually mimics a human figure. It actually is designed to mimic a woman sitting on a ledge with legs dangling down. So, yeah, see some frowns. Stretch the imagination a little bit. But actually, psychologically, it's a comforting design. We put this ATM next to some of our standard ATMs and just ask people which one to feel most comfortable approaching. And overwhelmingly, it was this device, whether they understood the reasons why, or not. But mimicking human figures. And this one also has gesture recognition, so there's a camera right here. So the idea is you can stand in front of this device, and do this or point, at different areas on the screen. Okay. In retail, right now there's a lot of consumer chaos in retail. And retailers haven't helped themselves out as much as they could maybe. And in NCR, we could probably maybe do a better job with the technology. But consumers can be confused when they shop because there's so many different things available to them now. They can shop online. They can go into a store. They have access to a lot of information, but that information can be overwhelming. And some retailers have had different prices online versus when you walk into a store. And that creates additional chaos. Am I safe buying it in the store, or should I go online and see if I can get a better price from the same retailer? So our goal is to really merge all these channels together and create a common experience and eliminate that chaos for a consumer. And mobile is obviously changing dramatically the retail experience, not only from the consumer side, but the associate side. We're releasing new mobile solutions. So instead of just a cash register behind a counter, it's out on the floor of the store in a mobile device, as well as manager tools. Okay. So on the mobile side, consumer side, we're also releasing in-aisle scanning, where you can actually stage the transaction as you shop. So when you put it in the cart, you scan it with your mobile phone. So that's all pre-staged by the time you get there. On the associate side, a big benefit is queue busting. So if people are waiting in line, you can have somebody with a mobile device pre-stage people's transactions to shorten the queue. And then giving managers powerful tools in the palm of their hand out on the floor of the store instead of back office tools. Okay. And a big trend, again, with a mobile point of sale, and kind of a trend away from towards more thick client solutions where you have this box with all the software loaded onto it, with more thin client mobile solutions. And then cloud computing is just the huge trend that we're seeing. This is a little bit about Silver, a solution we just launched, where it's an electronic cash register, if you will, with a really powerful set of tools for the back office, giving small businesses unparalleled ability to manage their business and improve their profitability. Whether they don't have a store, so the landscaper can take a payment from this device using a mobile phone or an iPad, or away from the store, farmer's market, art fair, that kind of thing. Near the store, on a sidewalk sale, mobile point of sale, as well as dislocating the salesperson from the register inside the store. Okay. And self-service is a huge trend that we see every year. We look at numbers, and every year acceptance of self-service goes up by consumers. So the latest data, 89% of consumers responded, if given the choice of using a self-service device, 89% said they will either always, usually, or sometimes use it. Okay? Just a little bit over 10% say they would rarely or never use it. Those numbers were a lot different 10 years ago. Every year it goes up. And self-service is changing a lot. Okay? So this is kind of the future of self-service. And this is a solution we can show in our briefing center here in Duluth. But you can shop in the aisle, scan items with your phone as you're shopping. When you check out at this self-service device, everything's pre-staged on your mobile app. And we have a mobile payment solution that we've worked out where you actually scan the 2D barcode that's on the self-checkout device. So I want to pay. I take my mobile phone. I scan this QR code from the self-checkout. And then it communicates to my mobile payment in the cloud. And it knows exactly which self-checkout I'm standing in front of based on what we've encoded in that. Okay? And then we authorize payment back to the self-checkout device with encrypted technology. So that's where we see kind of the future mobile payment going. That's one method, actually, because there's many different people out there that want to grab a piece of this, mobile payment pie, if you will. So NFC is one way. Using the 2D barcode or the QR code is another way. We got Google wanting into the business, PayPal. So there's dozens, literally dozens of mobile wallet solutions that are in development. Okay. So we've created a cloud-based enterprise platform called NCR Connect, where we can intermediate all these mobile payment devices with all of our points of service. So whether it's a self-checkout, an ATM, a point-of-sale device, NCR Connect encompasses all of these devices across all of our lines of business and connects all these different mobile payments to our devices, all done through the cloud. So, okay. And we think there's still a future for RFID at self-checkout. So we actually have built a few of these looking at self-checkout, future-looking self-checkout devices. So RFID, if you're not familiar with it, when you go to checkout, each item has a tag on it with an RF chip, radio frequency chip. An idea that was talked about 10 years ago, or probably even farther than that. And we actually developed self-checkout solutions where you can just load a shopping cart full of items and just walk through a reader, and it reads all the tags automatically without taking items out of the cart. So we've been talking about it for a long time. One reason why it hasn't really come about is the cost of the tag. The last numbers I heard, it was about 7 cents per tag, which isn't a lot of money if you're talking about a $40 sweater. But if you're Walmart selling cans of peas, you may only make 2 or 3 cents in every can of peas. So if you add a 7-cent tag to that, then you lose money on those items. So the price has to come down. And then the technology has to change a little bit because it doesn't work through liquids very well. So if you have a 2-liter bottle of soda, or a package of meat, that tag may go undetected because the technology can't read through the liquid. So those are some things that have kind of held it back a little bit, but we still think that there is a future, particularly in general merchandise stores. If you're a clothing store, we think that this type of technology still has a future in it. And we actually worked with Intel on this and a company named Frog Design in creating this kind of futuristic self-checkout device where you have up here a flat screen, kind of an integrated glass screen where you're touching this device and checking out and reading tags. So that's kind of an exciting, different looking device. Okay. And then the future retail, we spent a lot of time studying consumer interactions, whether they're in the store, out of the store, or near the store. Doing things with like location-based services if they're near the store, digital coupons, the internet, these QR codes. You've probably seen these all over the place, and the consumer now has the ability to maybe shop from the TV screen. I've seen Home Depot do this, another strong local company, where they've actually put a QR code on the screen during a television commercial. And then you can take your phone and you can actually scan that QR code, and then that will initiate a shopping experience, for that item. Okay. And then in the store, we actually just brought into our briefing center a new solution that we're launching, which is a kiosk that looks like that, which is a multi-touch kiosk. So again, we'll be in front of a big kiosk instead of a smaller screen. We can, pinch and zoom and do things, and create in-store endless aisle shopping experiences. So if you're in a store, you don't see what you want, you can go over to the kiosk. And retailers really haven't done a really good job of that yet, where they're offering, internet-based shopping experience inside the store. And we think there's an opportunity there. So you can go to the kiosk and you can see whether it's in a nearby store, or you can order online and have it, sent to your home. We talked a lot about mobile so far, and the general feeling is kind of, these are all opportunities, and that mobile phone is kind of that hammer that we can just, hit all the nails down with, across and that's kind of the perception, is that it's a solve all problem kind of a solution. And we think there is, definitely a space for mobile when you're talking about high value, high touch, and low volume items. Mobile point of sale is definitely a strong way to go. Or maybe a hybrid solution where you have a traditional point of sale device and complement it with a mobile point of sale device. Okay? For like department stores, mass merchandise stores. But for things that have low value, low touch, and very high volume, like in a grocery application, you know, you're not going to want to have a grocery cart with 150 items and then check out with a mobile phone probably in that. You know, more of a traditional point of sale with a red laser scanner is the fastest way to do that kind of transaction. So that's how we see the business changing. We think there's always going to be a point for the fixed point of sale, but certainly mobile is transforming the world. Okay? In hospitality, we have a new solution that I'm excited to talk about. Today in a restaurant, okay, you have a mobile phone with an internet connection, but your mobile phone cannot talk to that restaurant's own technology, their own software. So we have a new solution called Mobile Pay, where it really breaks down that brick wall between the customer's mobile device and technology and the restaurant technology. So it creates a link to that through an application on the mobile phone. Okay? So as a consumer, okay, you can engage whether they're away from the restaurant, nearby the restaurant, inside the restaurant, during the dining experience, and then at the end of the meal. Okay, every step of that process. Okay. Not only for shopping, but for payments as well. Okay. Let me go to here. So the idea is that you can be near the restaurant. You know, you can see where the closest McDonald's. I'll use that as my last name. We're not doing this with McDonald's, but just as an example. You can see where the closest restaurant is. You can, instead of ordering from a menu, you can actually order directly from your mobile phone. Okay? They'll bring the food to you. If you want to add to that order, you can add to that order. And then you can pay directly with your mobile phone. Consumers they feel uncomfortable a lot of times handing a credit card over to a wait person. There has been some fraud where they go to the back room. Okay? So with this, your payment device is your mobile phone and it never leaves your hand. So that's an exciting, we think, consumer experience. Okay? And then the restaurant can get survey information about the dining experience in real time while they're in the restaurant. Okay? And then create a link to social media. So if you had a good restaurant experience, you know, let people know on Facebook. Okay? The downside of that is if you have a bad restaurant experience, let people know on Facebook. So there's a exciting opportunity there. Okay? And the restaurant, they can measure wait times in real time. They know exactly who's inside the restaurant at any given time. With this app, you know, they can see I've got 6 users of this mobile app inside my restaurant. You know, how long are they waiting? That kind of thing. Measure the performance of the kitchen. Okay. And travel. So we're down to the mystery device here. How are we doing on time, Nicole? 2 minutes? Good timing. So what is this mystery device? So this is actually a hotel check-in solution. Got a big picture of it for you. So today we have a solution where you can check in a self-service device that we sell to Hyatt and some other hotels. You walk in the lobby and you check in using this self-service device. It's a great solution. Shortens the time people wait around to check in. This is a new solution, though, that we're excited about, where it's a completely dislocated check-in, and you can do it away from the hotel before you even get there. So you're traveling to New York. You're going to stay at the Hyatt near the World Trade Center. You can actually check in the cab on the way there from the airport. You check in. We send back an email confirmation saying you're in room 327, and then we generate a 2D barcode to your mobile phone. So when you get to the hotel, all you have to do is walk into the lobby and walk up to this device and hold this barcode up, and it says, how many keys do you want? It encodes and dispenses your room key, and you walk up to room 327. So you're checking in like less than 30 seconds, with this kind of technology. We feel that this is a great example of the disruptive technology that we're trying to create. really innovating that consumer experience. We think consumers will love this, especially the business traveler that just wants their key and they want to get up to the room fast. As well as it's a very low-cost device. It's kind of a good NCR engineering story. This touch panel is the service panel from the back of our ATMs. The PC core inside is a retail point of sale or cash register PC core. This imaging scanner comes from retail. The card encoder is from our traditional self-service device. The power supply even came from something else. So it was all parts that we had. We put together in this very small package, innovated the check-in to the mobile phone, and we think this will be an exciting thing. And it was the only thing I could bring that was small enough. So I tried to bring an ATM, but those are heavy. So, okay. Well, I'm very honored that you allowed me to speak, and hopefully gave you a little bit of insight into the way consumer interactions are changing going forward. It's a very exciting time. Okay? Thank you.
That was very exciting. I always love hearing Rich talk. He has the newest, coolest things to talk about and to show us. So thank you again, Rich. Really appreciate your time. Will you be able to stay after for a little bit if people have some questions?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Sure. So we've run out of time for group questions, but if you do have questions, Rich is here and available for you. Just a few housekeeping announcements. And save the dates. First and foremost, like always, I'd just like to thank our host, which is Gwinnett Technical College. We have Donna Britt in the back. So if your organization is ever looking at hosting meetings or corporate events or conferences, please see Donna. They would love to have you. They're wonderful to work with. Our next technology forum, if you'd just like to mark your calendars, is going to be on Tuesday, November 13th. We're usually the third Tuesday. Because of Thanksgiving, November is always falling on the second Tuesday. So that'll be November 13th. And we will be updating the website so you can see who our speakers are going to be for that event. Also, Saturday, October 6th, you should see a flyer in front of you, is Tags Techie 10K. There is also a 5K option for those of you like me who would never run a 10K. Let's never say never. But we are proud to host this annual event. It's actually at Tech Park in Norcross. So they do come out to Gwinnett for this. Would love to have you as runners. If you do not want to run but just want to volunteer, maybe encourage the runners and hand out water, please see me afterwards. We would love to have you involved and to welcome out all the technology people that are coming to Gwinnett on Saturday, October 6th. Another note, there are evaluations in front of you. Please fill those out. We'll collect them in the back. Always love to get your feedback, be it timing, speakers, topics that you're interested in. We want to make sure that this forum is for you and that you're hearing the different niche industries in the technology community that you want to hear about. All right, last but not least, we have our drawings. First is a lunch for two, courtesy of one of our community partners, which is the 1818 Club, third floor of the Gwinnett Chamber Building. And it is Michael Cassie with Gwinnett County Public Library. Michael, are you in here? Did he just step out? You have to be present. All right, tell him what he missed. Maybe the next person who wins can take him to lunch, huh? All right. All right, Mark Bond with Hayes James. Oh, congratulations. Adam, do you want to do the honors?
I'll let you.
Okay, all right. So next is courtesy of Blue Wave. We have Microsoft Office Package. Very nice. And it is Paul Johnson, Adams Data Management. Congratulations, Paul.
I'm a winner!
Yay! Perfect. We know who had their coffee.
Yeah, it's just so exciting. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you all again. Mark your calendars for November 13th. Rich, thank you so much for a great presentation. Feel free to come and talk with him if you have the chance.
What time is the techie thing?
It's very early in the morning. I believe like 6:30 a.m. Yep. Thank you all for coming out. Have a great morning.